Hi guys.
Hey.
Great.
Yeah.
There we are. We did much better this time
Yeah.
than last time. I
It
think
was a bit.
it was 2 minutes, right?
It was a bit. It's a bit quicker this time round.
Great. I'm glad to see you and here's Subi. Let me add Subi.
Okay.
Subi, are you there? So just inviting one of our friends. Sorry.
Yeah.
Subi. But maybe guys, while I'm fiddling here with inviting Subi,
Yes.
you can recap what we are planning to talk about today.
Sure. So today we are going to talk about the education system in Uganda, whereby starting from like explaining how our education system works in Uganda. At what age exactly does someone start school, and at what age does they end school? So we are going to explain that a bit with you all, and I wanted Subi, the fact that he was a teacher, to take us through the stages in depth, so that we all understand the stages of the levels of education here in Uganda. So another thing that we are going to discuss about today,
The inspiration for the show, right? So
the inspiration for the show.
Yeah. So as Subi joins us, maybe we can just start a little bit, and then we'll keep trying to add him to the conversation. But I think last time we started talking about the collection that you presented in Nairobi, the
Yes.
collection inspired by the story of Subi, and that's why we want Subi really very much at our event, because he's the big inspiration
That's true.
behind what we've done. And he seems to be having technical troubles, but that's not a problem, so we'll just keep working on it. Yeah, but so last time we talked about how you prepared for the show, how you've gotten the inspiration, how you connected with Subi, and talked about his story and how that kind of brought about the idea to create the collection from recycled
uniforms.
And here's from recycled uniforms. So hopefully Subi will join in a minute. Yay, there we go.
He's here.
Subi, are you with us now? He is almost. So we started that conversation, and I think we ended on a very positive note in terms that the idea for collection was not to say the world has changed and we don't need education anymore, but it was more about the world has changed. We really need education, but it really needs to align with what we're doing and where we're going, right? So today we're continuing and we're talking about the education specifically. So as Subi joins, I think what would be helpful to start with, we'll have different educational systems in our countries, right? And Instagram is a very international platform. So my experience might be very different from yours. So maybe since we are talking about the inspiration behind your collection being Subi and the experience with the educational system in Uganda specifically, maybe you can get us started by telling us telling us what we're doing, how your educational system looks like in Uganda specifically.
Okay.
So what are the
Okay.
stages,
So,
years, and whatnot?
okay. Suubi is here.
Yay! We have you here. We really
I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. It's technical glitches. So we just did a recap of our first live, and we saw that to get started, we'll talk about what actually the educational system in Uganda looks like. So what do you guys do when you start your education? Where do you start, at what age, and then how it goes?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I'll share briefly. When we start school, to a normal Ugandan or an average Ugandan, always at 3 years we start school. We go in for what we call the nursery section, which takes about 2 to 3 years, depending on how the child is grasping the concepts, and at sometimes it is about the money. So some parents don't have enough to keep the child in nursery for 3 years. So there's a shortcut. Go for 2 years, then you proceed to primary, which is
Or some glitches.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
guys can continue. We lost you for we lost you for a little bit, Suubi. So primary is how many years, guys?
Primary is 7 years.
It takes 7 years.
Okay, so by the time you finish with primary, you're 13, right?
Yeah. 13. About 13.
And then?
No, not really 13, 10. Because 3 plus. No. 13, 12. Yeah, that's
okay.
right. You're right. Then you proceed to secondary. We have lower secondary and then upper secondary, which you call O level, going for 4 years. Then we have A level, which goes for 2 years. So that is 19. Then at that point, if someone proceeds and they have good points that can enable them get a point, a course at university, they can go for a degree, which takes about 3 to 5 years, depending on the course. Otherwise, if they don't have better grades, that they may not offer them a degree course, so they may opt for a diploma, which is 2 years. So basically, considering someone who goes for a course of 3 years, a degree, you leave university when you are 21 years old. 21, 22 years, 21, 22, about that age. Yeah, so that is it about our education system briefly.
So basically, go ahead.
Though we have also what we call technical education, like to our society, to our country, most cases they take it to be for failures. Funny enough. Like someone who has failed, they think someone who has failed S4 and they cannot get a science course. To them, a science course is better, so they can go for a technical course after senior 4. So you can do any course from building, nursing, mention it. There are many courses there that someone can do, and actually they can build on that and go up to any level of education they wish to reach. That is if they have enough support to take them. where they want to reach. Yeah, but they're also technical. Yeah, I think that's basically what I have to share about that.
So basically, you go for 21 years, right? As you mentioned, if you want to go from the nursery all the way then to a college degree. But then there are options, right? You can opt for college degree, which is about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Or you can do diploma for 3, or you can do technical education. So if you want to be a fashion designer, let's get back to what we're discussing here. Where would that be? Would that be a college degree, a technical, or a diploma?
Depends on the results that you have got. Most times when you join an institute, it's a diploma, and some people go for diplomas or certificates depending on the institution that you have gone to. And also when you go for you opt for university, it also takes you back to the results you have done. And most universities don't have a specific course of fashion and design. They have, it's called in industrial arts, whereby it has a course unit called fashion and design. So fashion and design is like a course unit, whereby most people that join the university, they don't really get the knowledge that a fashion designer would get to be a professional fashion designer. So they are always taken through a lot of things, whereby they have limited knowledge when it comes to the designing part.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, if you want to go for fashion design and you want to be a fashion designer or any type of artist, as you kind of alluded to, you go for industrial design, then you learn some of the courses, but then once you leave, you still have to find another school to supplement your education because you will never get enough in the formal school.
Yeah, that's right.
So there you go. That's right. Already one thing that probably we can suggest through our conversation to consider fashion design as and fashion industry as needing their own educational stream where you can get everything that you need to get, from technical skills to understanding of the art and design, to understanding of the human body and clothes structure, which are also important things in one place, as opposed to having to get pieces of education in several places.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your personal experience maybe now, and would be really great area to hear from you.
Yeah.
I'm going to just put you on the spot a little bit, sorry. But yeah, so what was your, all of you graduated from high school, right? So you completed the full schooling, and then what did you do in terms of education?
What did we do?
So did you go, and I know your stories, but for those who are listening for the first time and meeting you for the first or second time, so what did you do in terms of education? Did you go to college? Did you go for technical? So there's 3 options, right? Technical, diploma, or college. Where did you go?
Yeah, as me, Tamale, as I accomplished my A level, I went for a course whereby I went for a course of fashion designing for like in a school somewhere, but I didn't gain what I wanted. In the process, I had to look for a professional fashion design school, and whereby I found it. And in this school, I found they were very professional. They teach you how to think for yourself, not how like they make you think for yourself, not them to think for you. In the school where I was, like I graduated from Rico's fashion school. Yeah, as me, in my experience is right now, I've not yet. Right now, I'm just engaging with people. I'm trying to engage with people, because we in an economy of struggling, trying to work hard. People are failing, but see, as me, I'm trying to make myself better, to like my parents to be more proud. That's it, more, because right now I'm not willing. I can will to be more educated, but right now I'm not willing to like to go far. But still, I have to be in the industry to learn more about fashion, about everything that runs the economy.
Yeah.
So for me, my experience was when I finished my A level, I realized that I had to go for what I really wanted. Because when you look at my background, where I started from, basically I used to do like sell a lot of clothes to my friends, my fellow students, my people that I grew up from. So I used to try and because this is what I really wanted as a person. So when I realized that when I was still in school, I decided to go for it. So I looked for a fashion school that could bring out what I really wanted, that a fashion school that could have that X factor. So I searched for a couple of schools, and eventually I found out about Chic's fashion school, and yeah, it had everything that I wanted. But unfortunately, the only problem that the school is facing at the moment, our government is trying to, because they have a specific curriculum that they are trying to work with, whereby they want every institution every institution in the country to work with that same curriculum. But when you look at that curriculum that they are using, it really does not benefit the students, whereby they intend to prolong the process of education. I don't know if it's money-minded or just in just a way of giving back to the students. But for us, when you look at our curriculum, it focuses mainly on the part of fashion and design, whereby when a student is done with the course, is really a professional fashion designer. You understand? So it's a bit, the school has has that challenge at the moment, whereby it's not verified to give us degrees, but what the work that we do, or the process that we go through, we are like when we are done with the course, we have to have a degree in return. But the government has not yet verified the school in that way. So it's a bit challenging for the school and also for us as students. So when you look at such challenges, they always discourage students and most people that would like to go for courses like that, whereby they go to certain institutions and they don't get what they really wanted to get. So there's a way it kills their dreams and their visions, and discourages them to even do something that would be helpful. So they intend to put their dreams aside and then focus on doing something that could make them earn money at that moment. So it's a bit challenging in both ways.
Yeah, I understand. So basically, what you're saying is that the Records Fashion School, where both of you are graduating from, the Seamline team, is going through the process of sort of verifying that they adhere to the standards of education. And to adhere to the new standards, they would need to introduce additional topics, right, and extend their the period of studies so you can get your diplomas. But that might not necessarily work for students who want to finish their education in very specific topic and then move on and start earning income, because you know, that's what we all basically want to do eventually. We want to have education as the stepping stone to us getting jobs and getting income and supporting our families and building our communities. We don't necessarily want to spend more time in education. So what I'm hearing also you're saying is that this extended education might divert some people, and instead of proceeding with education, they might not to even try, but rather say, well, it's too long, I'd rather go earn money now, and then somewhere later in the future, when I have the time and the money to invest in it, maybe I'll think of going back to getting my degree. Is that about right?
Yeah.
And
also,
let's keep...
Okay. Okay.
No worries. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to bring in Suubi into the conversation as our big inspirational factor. So maybe let's have him tell our stories that you found so inspirational, so we can all get inspired and think about the role of education in our lives. You are now in the spotlight, Suubi. So tell us, what is your experience? So how did you choose where to go and what to do?
Maybe just before I talk about my experience about Edward's submission, like he talked about the fact that Record Fashion School is not maybe accredited by government, or there are such schools or more schools like Record that are not accredited. So when you go there, you don't expect to come out with a paper. And according to understanding of our people, if you don't have a degree, of course a certificate, maybe they think you're not learned, you've not studied. So that forces people, that force people or students into courses that they would not even want to do, but just to get that paper. So maybe it's also a challenge. So it drives them away into something that they would do with all their heart, and maybe it will take them far, but to go for somewhere they will get a piece of paper that maybe they can keep on presenting to people. I've studied, these are my results. Anyway, for my case, after my A-level, I got a chance, and there are forms we fill for government sponsorship, and I got a chance in in the many courses I filled. They gave me one on merit, so I did education. I did education at Makerere University, a Bachelor of Science degree with education. Though I actually wanted to be a civil engineer, it was my first choice, but I couldn't again leave that opportunity because I wasn't going to pay for my tuition, and maybe the family or my parents could concentrate on my little or elder brothers and sisters. So I moved on with that, and I graduated with that degree. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything much I have to add on. Of course, after the degree, I practiced it. I was lucky after graduating. Actually, before even graduation, I had a job, and I was excited, just like any other graduate. You'd want to go work, get money, and life moves on. So I got a job, entered there 1 year. The second year was not easy. Responsibilities were a bit more, and the school could not support me as I expected, yet it is actually demanding. So after 2 years, I had to leave that school. I left the school. So I thought I would find maybe a school that would I would give a bit of my time and then concentrate on other things so that I can be able to push my life on and support my family in a better way. But anyway, it wasn't possible. It wasn't possible. I don't know if it was bad luck. I'm a teacher of physics and math. But I tried to look for jobs, and I don't know if I was overqualified. You know, these days many students come out. Even this year, just of recent, last week, people graduated, students graduated, and they're all flopping for the same jobs. So employees tend to bring in the newcomers, and now, of course, because for them they're a little bit cheap, and I wasn't going to be cheap. For the negotiations that I would go for with a new employer after the first experience, it would be, I think, not as a newcomer. So that I think also affects us. And along the way, COVID came in. Of course, schools had to close up. So I tried all I tried, business, and eventually I had to leave Uganda and find out something else to do that would give me more income as I expected, so that I can be able to support my family. And maybe after here, I'll be able to go back and teach, because I needed money, and my parents or my family also expected money from me, because it pushes life, and there are a lot of things we had to push on. So I couldn't just look on when things are just like that. To me, it was not just about teaching, but then offer something that will keep me where you want me to be. Yeah, like education, teaching is like a social service. I could offer it as long as I'm satisfied, because I also have a family, and I studied so that I can have a better life. So coming to school and then I am just frustrated after all those years of struggling would not make sense to me. So that's why I decided to first quit a bit, sort out myself. Maybe after I can go back and concentrate on the teaching, because I love it. I love it.
No, I'm also a teacher by background, and I had similar experience to yours, where I really loved working with kids, especially with very young kids. In school, I was teaching English to kids who were 8 to 10. It was great. It was great experience. You always get a lot of reward from working with younger kids, especially, but from teaching in general. But yeah, basically, I was spending all of the money that I was earning on the bus to get to school, because it was on the other side of town. So at some point, my father says, well, it looks like we'll have to support you for the rest of your life or until you get married. And I was like, no, that doesn't really sound right. So just like you, I quit and I went to work somewhere else in the hope that, once I establish myself, I earn some money, I'm financially stable, I can go back and still teach because I love it. So it sounds like you went through a similar journey. You really liked it, but because it was not providing for you financially, you were not able to support your family. You had to step back and say, let me find something else. Even though my degree is in education and I'm a teacher and I love being a teacher, let me find something else to do. And then hopefully I can come back and provide education to kids again, because that's what I like to do, but that's not what keeps me, my family happy and financially.
Exactly.
Well, it seems like this is a global experience. So guys, the Seamline team, do tell us, so what inspired you about Suubi's story? Like, what was
So
when you talk, you know each other for a while, right?
yeah. You have been, we are, we are like brothers.
For me, like, I don't know much about Suubi, but Edward knows better because he has been with Suubi
Like,
for a time. Yeah.
yeah. So we are like brothers. As I told you last time, like Suubi was my elder brother. We grew up together, and I used to look up to him, and I still do that. And during those times, he was an aggressive man, and he worked so hard, and he used to perform well in class. And yeah, like our parents used to tell us, like, you be like Subi, like work hard, do this and that. So and also is the person that made me love mathematics a lot, because I was also so good in mathematics, and he was so good in mathematics. So that there's a way that connected us, and yeah, we became brothers. We became brothers since then. So Subi is not the only person that is in this situation, because when you look at our country right now, most of the people that are, let me give you an example, because the way it brought it out, that most students, when they reach A level, there's a form they fill, the job form, and when you look at the percentage of people that are given government scholarship, most of them are given education. And also, when education is not bad, but most of the times these people are not, then it's not their first priority. It's not their first thing that they would like to do. And when you look at these people, these students that always, when you're filling your job form, you're always advised to put education on the what? That's right.
Yeah.
You're always
Go on.
advised to put education on your list, because it's most likely to be what, to, like, the government likes to always give students education. So besides that, the reason why we're inspired by Subi mostly, because it connects with us, and also we are trying to tell a story of different Ugandans through him, because his situation is not the only person that is in that situation, that has passed through that situation, because many Ugandans, the ones that there are even some that are even still in the country, whereby they have tried to look for jobs, but they can't find jobs that are in line with what they studied. So they decide to opt to do something else that is not in line with what they studied. And when you look at most Ugandans, most people, they intend to to start small scale businesses that could make them survive. And sometimes it reaches a time whereby these are the businesses that they're even focusing on at the moment. And yet they had spent more time in school and invested time and money in the courses that they did at campus. So it's a bit it's a bit paining that these people that really invested a lot of time in these courses that they did, they're not really benefiting from them. So it's a matter of just as we discussed, it's a matter of just trying to send a message to whoever it concerns that our education has to evolve, our education system has to evolve, whereby we should always embrace what we should always study less of what we really don't need in our final courses, and then study more of what we really like, what will really benefit from in our future careers. So basically, this collection is talking about a couple of people in our country.
Many people actually in your country. One thing that I got really inspired about Suubi's story is that he likes his training. He likes doing what he was trained to do. So it was, for him, actually was maybe a lucky coincidence that there were scholarships available for being educated as a teacher. He got trained as a teacher, even though it wasn't his first choice. And he actually really liked it, and he would love to do it, but the circumstances are such that he just cannot. So maybe that's another thing to kind of think about. But Suubi, tell me, when you heard that your story inspired the fashion collection, what was your reaction?
Oh my God. Anyways, so I got actually a call. I think it was we were in a chat with Edward. So he told me, I want you to be like we are thinking of a collection.
Yeah.
And you would be the inspiration. Of course, as he told you, I've known him and for quite long, and we've always shared. Yes, I always tell him that is good. You know, after going through what I've gone through, I was there before him.
Yeah.
So I could always advise. You know, it was a brave decision going to do design, fashion and design after A level, after those 2 years, they are hard years in books doing mathematics. You know, now it looks like mathematics wasn't important for him.
No.
But anyway,
No.
he chose. No, I'm not saying that, but he chose to go for fashion and design, and I was there to always say, it is okay as long as it comes from your heart and you like it. Because I was through it, and I always wondered. I mean, I always tell my students. I would always tell my students, if I had someone to guide me, maybe I would be some technical person somewhere. Because when as I was growing up, I used to deal with those wires connecting. So if there was someone to really follow up on what I was doing after S4, maybe they would just say, go for this course or do this course as you continue with your studies, which is, I think, okay. Anyways, so he told me and I said, it is okay. It was okay because it is not about me. It was not about me. I didn't want to tell people about where I am. Some people don't know that I'm even in the Gulf countries. I'm in Qatar. Some don't know. But this was going public. But I thought about it now and I said, no, but it's not about me. It's about people who are going through what I went through. And maybe even those that went through beat up like things that I didn't go through.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're now dropouts because their parents wanted them to go for a medical course, but they didn't want to do medical. So the parents could not support them to go for medical, for whatever they wanted to go for. So they ended up dropping out. Those are the people that this, I think, inspires. Or we send out a message also to parents or to elder people that we believe in and trust in, that it is not about what you want me to do, but what will I do that will keep me, that I'm positive at, and I am putting in my all, than just going for medical course, and then after the medical course, I have to go again down to go for fashion after 5 years at university. That is what is happening. So it was okay, and I feel it's so nice, so good. Yeah, I'm grateful that he thought about me, and all they thought about me. And I just pray this doesn't stop here, but it inspires someone, or there is something some people will learn. That going for fashion doesn't mean sitting, in our countries, if someone says, I'm going for fashion and design, they think you're going to get that sewing machine after studying, put it beside the veranda or near some shop, then start mending torn clothes. That is what they think. But now, who knew it would be something like this, something that will impact maybe the community. There's something to learn about, something big, even myself could not think about, but it is from a heart, a mind that does what they want to do. So it was great, and I could just allow. Yes.
How did they consult with you? Did you collaborate when the guys were producing the collection? Did they consult with you? Did they show you the sketches?
About the sketches, I just told the story, and they know. Edward knows what I've been going through, and they know what happens to even others. So we kept on sharing, but yes, I couldn't even understand the designs they would do, because I would not even give them like an advice that do like this, because that is not my area. But at least I shared a story, and that is all I could do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you see the full collection, the final collection?
Yeah, they're nice collections.
Which one is your favorite look?
I've not taken time to study them so much, because as you know, very busy. But
yeah,
I always look at them and I ask him a lot of questions. How they come up with such, and then how they think the layman can understand them. We always discuss. Yeah, but it was all nice to look at. Yes, and it would always give questions. Can always give questions. Why like this? Why this like this? So it is all good work, and I think it is a nice piece of work that they are doing.
So it was up to you, Suubi. What would you do with this collection now? Because it's inspired by your story. It's a product of some collaboration, some level of collaboration, even though maybe you didn't contribute as much to the sketches. Your story is important, right? Your story is what the collection is about. So if it was up to you, what would you like to see happening with that collection? Where do you want to see it kind of being showcased? Who should be talking about it? Aside from us here on Instagram.
Of course, I wish it to go as far as it can go. Yes, because they're not just clothes, but it is the message that we are spreading. So I wish that it can go as far as it can go. And actually, thank you, Madam Anne, for this opportunity, because it would not make sense if after the showcasing it all stopped there. There are these conversations that really make sense and bring out the inspiration, so that people can have more time to understand what actually the collection was about. So from where it is supposed to be, where it should go, I just wish it goes to the anywhere. It should go as far as it can go. Yeah.
Great. So back to you, Seamline team. What would you like to see happening with this collection? How would you like to spread the message? And I know we talked a little bit about that, so let's talk some more.
So as Suubi has said, like this is not just more. It's more than the clothes, but it also talks about the message. So first, we wanted to reach the right person that it really concerns, the person that can really try and help out and see that the reason why you are talking about this thing, we can have a solution for it. So we would love the collection to go even beyond. And also, we have a dream of being hosted by one of the biggest news media in Africa, BBC, focus on BBC Africa, so that we can try and talk about these issues, because you never know, someone could be there that could listen and do something about it. You understand? So we want our collections to go even beyond us, to reach to the right person that the message is targeting exactly.
Let's go.
The next thing, the other thing is we need to do some campaign. Some campaign going to some of the schools around Kampala, villages, where in Uganda. Because when you look at different institutes right now, they tend to, many students tend to finish their courses, but they are not given help to how to, or let me say, capital to begin their businesses or what they have been studying. Yeah, but I think they need help to begin what they need help. They need capital to begin their businesses. They need guidance. They need some mentorship. Yeah, because when you give these people, like let me say, in a course of fashion and design, you can, after a course, as the institute, you can provide machines, maybe a straight industrial machine and overlock, for this student to be more, let me say, when you have those machines as a fashion designer, you can be able to work. You can get that energy to engage with the customers. Yeah, I think that's it. That's what we need to do. Yeah.
There's a perfect segment, a segue to the question that we just got from Mariam Couture. So all of you mentioned at some point when you were talking that there is a need for better mentorship. There is a need for mentors. So her question is at Suubi, but I think it's at all three of you. So what would you do different for your children to prepare them for this world where they will have to go through their educational journey? But how do you help them as mentors to your children, right? Because that's what we are as parents. We're mentors to our children. So how would you prepare your children to go through this world and this journey of education path, and prepare them for what's there, what's in stock for them? So we can start with Suubi, since the question is addressed to you specifically, but I think it's for all three of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that question from Maria. A very good question. I smiled when I saw it.
Yeah.
So, actually, I always think about that. Like, I don't want my children to go through what I'm going through, or what I went through. So the best thing is always guiding the children. Yes, it's not about what the parent wants to do or for their kids to do. Yes, you keep monitoring. I think if I was monitored by my parents, they used to see what I could do. Okay, but at some point you even tell a parent that they want to learn how to drive. They tell you first finish studying, but driving doesn't mean you first go up to university. Then you learn how to drive. At 18, you're old enough to drive a car. So you keep bringing in those skills, not just education. Education is good. We cannot overlook its importance. But what skills are you having that are added on to what you're studying? Because at the end of it, or you may not get a job in what you're studying. Okay.
Yeah.
But there are other good things education comes with. we cannot overlook, but it's not that after his studying, we shall get those jobs. So I can imagine if Edward had a chance to keep doing that fashion throughout the O-level section, maybe we would even be far than after going for O-level, A-level, then turning back to fashion. So mine would be guide the students.
Mm-hmm.
Identify, as a parent, you can always identify what a child can do. Don't force what you want them to be, okay? But just how can I say, guide them or support their dream, support what they want to do. Yes, you can keep on trying them out on some things, and eventually you find out that they can do this better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if I had a chance to do some technical work, maybe in my S4 vacation, maybe I would not be in Qatar. I would be able maybe to troubleshoot if a radio has some issues. I would have maybe a workshop repairing. It doesn't need a degree to repair a radio. It doesn't need a degree to repair a TV. Okay, so what if that was added on my education? Would I be struggling? Okay, because even after leaving school, I had to start something small with my little knowledge in computing. I had to do a stationery, then do some work, typing, and some designing work. All that was because I came up with something, some other knowledge than just going to school and going for physics and mathematics. After all that, if I didn't have that knowledge, the physics and mathematics would not help me anyway.
Right.
Yes, outside school, nowhere else it could help me. So the best thing is support the student or the children in what you see they can or they want to do. Support their talents. People are thriving because of talents, not because of books. Keep them in school, but support their talents. Okay. There are games our parents used to tell us, those ones are for, I don't know how, Edward, how do you call it? Wasted people.
Yeah, wasted people.
Yeah. Like board games. Chess. They find you playing chess. Those are waste. Are you wasted? You want to be wasted? You can imagine.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
are people who are going high because of chess. So those are just a few things. It's not much. It is not much. As we keep them in school, keep supporting them, have a keen eye on them, follow up on them. Don't force them onto something that they don't want. Maybe if you want them to like something, bring it up from down. Don't wait after senior 6, then you tell them go for this. At the end of senior 6, they know what they want to do. Support them, then they will do their best, and they will not regret when they are out, finally out. They will always figure out how to succeed in that field because they chose it and you supported them. That's what I can say. Yeah.
That's great. Just to summarize, what I heard you saying is, first, observe your children and support their talents, right? So that's one that's really important. Help them to develop their talents because that's what makes them happy. But then you also mentioned that it's important to teach your kids practical skills, like driving a car, mending something, repairing something, because you never know. The skills kind of make them more independent, but also help them in case they need a small job here and there, they can still use the skills. But then what you also mentioned that I think is really important, encourage your kids to explore different jobs. So if something didn't work out, encourage them to try new things, because they might think they have talent, and they might have talent, but it's not enough really for them to really fully develop that talent into something that can become their profession. So maybe we go to the Seamline team, but there is a question from Afromuro that I would like you to cover in your conversation as well. So what they're asking for, or what they're saying, is that everybody who is self-taught, and that gets along with the whole issue of exploring different things and learning different things, everybody who is self-taught has more to offer to the world. What do you think about that? Than the most educated people and people who excelled in Uganda. So, would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with him. Afromuro. We know him. He's a Ugandan designer. He's self-taught. So he has done an impact also to the fashion industry right now about sustainability. So when you look at the world right now, and most in our country, most people that are self-taught are doing wonders with what they are really doing, because this is what they really wanted to do. You understand? So it's, as Suubi has said, you can always find ways you can survive with doing what you really wanted. Because when you see someone that has done something with something that has not, whereby he has done something in something that he has not even gained education from, because that's what he really wanted. So that means when even got a chance to study that particular thing that he's doing, he would even do something that is even more better. So when you go back to Maria's question, it's about guiding our kids and seeing that like putting an eye on them while they are growing, and seeing different parts they can really different areas they can do better, or they love to do better, and try to support them in those areas, and also encourage them and guide them through those areas that they really want to do. So while they are in school as well, because when you look at some parents currently, but there are few parents, they are not. It's not that all of them are doing the same thing, but some parents are guiding their kids and supporting their kids in different areas while they are still in school. So I think we should adopt on that and see and see how it would come out in the future.
Great. So, Arya, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I wanted to share something.
Please, go ahead.
To add on his issue, you can find in India a 7-year-old kid knows how to assemble a computer, you know. But here in Uganda, you can I don't know. It's a blessing if you know how to even let me say how to do what? How to type. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. But another issue is it's like a question to you, Anna. Do you also beat students because of speaking their local language?
No, because we only have, see, this is unique to Uganda, because in Russia we have one language, right? Mostly, generally, it's Russian. It's very homogeneous, kind of language-wise. It's a relatively homogeneous society, even though we do have internal migrants after the Soviet Union who speak their own language. But I don't think they get beaten in school. But a funny story, Indiegram asked, can all 4 of you narrate funny experiences? So I'll just bring mine now, and then you can tell yours later. But funny experience was my very first teacher in primary school. She was really keen, and she was a lady. She was really keen on kind of smacking us with a ruler, with the know that wood ruler that has numbers on it and whatever centimeters and inches. So she really kind of was, the first year I was in school, she liked smacking people on their head, on their shoulders, on their back with that ruler. And as students, we took a lot of pride in it. We were like, oh, our teacher is the most vicious teacher in the school. Now as an adult, I understand how wrong it is. But at that time, we were really proud that she was a really strict teacher, which is, again, it's not necessarily about us as students, right? At that time, we were like 5, 6, I was 6, so I didn't know any better. But it's also going back to how, as parents, we guide our teachers, our students, and what feedback we give to our teachers to say, well, you know what, as a teacher, as a parent, sorry, I'm not thinking straight this morning, but as a parent, I don't really like that my kid comes home and says, well, you know, my teacher smacked me on my head twice today. I'm not going to tolerate that, me as a parent these days. So I'll go and see that teacher and I'll say, well, you know what, next time I'm bringing my husband, who is 2 meters tall and a bodybuilder, and we'll see who wins, right? But at that time, we took a lot of pride. So it's not, I think, reflecting on everything that you said, as parents, for our teachers, we can guide them, but we also have to influence the environment in which they are and guide the people who interact with them, right? Because we want that kind of that influence that comes from us and the one that comes from teachers be aligned. Because then if it's not, then our kids will get confused. They're like, oh, mom says beating you for speaking your home language is a wrong thing, but I come to school and the teacher says, well, you're actually not supposed to speak it in public, right? So that's where the confusion comes, and that's really bad for kids. So we need to also make sure that we talk to our teachers. And we should all be lucky to have a teacher like Suubi, who's very conscious and kid-loving, but that's not always the case, as you said. Sometimes people are just forced into being teachers because that's the only educational pathway that was available to them. But back to you. So no, beating kids for speaking their local language is really bad.
I think the issue was for someone to understand better, they should first you should first teach them their local language, then turn to the international language, as we say, is Swahili, English. Okay, I think that would be better, because beating students is it's like an old version of education, let me say. Yeah. Right now, I think the education system should be changed in a way. Yeah, we should not just beat the students because they don't know or they don't understand what we teach them. We should just prepare them for something better. Yeah, in a better way. Yeah, that's it.
See, this smacking, apparently, I'm looking at the chat, and the smacking is a shared experience. So I see two people saying that they had similar experience with teachers smacking them with a wooden ruler. So that's apparently a widespread global thing, but it is wrong, right? So it teaches the wrong thing. It teaches the not just the power misbalance that I'm, you know, as a teacher, I'm better than you and I can do things that are wrong, but it just teaches violence as well, that violence is the resolution for some of these things, which is also wrong. And Indigram says Russia teaches the best math. Yes, I would agree that Russia is really strong in math, which is not necessarily a good thing, because just as we're discussing today, there is a lot of emphasis on technical sciences, on technical and on sciences, but not necessarily on humanitarian subjects, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fantastic conversation we're having. So I hope we'll continue it next week as well in the same fantastic way. But before we wrap up, so now it's your turn to tell funny stories about your school experience. So who wants to start?
For me, I will listen to others' stories.
Okay. So Edward, you always have something to say. Tell us your funny story. I know you have one.
Okay, so I'll tell my story leaning it on Eric's point about being beaten because of talking our local language. So when you look at most schools here in Uganda, I know we have different tribes and all that, but the most spoken language in Uganda is called Luganda. Yeah. So you find yourself in some schools when you speak Luganda in school, because the reason why we okay, let me take it this way. The official language that you have to speak in our country is English. Yeah. So, but when you're in school, it's also the official. It's the language that you have to use when you're in school. So it's the teachers used to come up with the tenses whereby when you speak your local language, you are either beaten or given you're either beaten, given a bone. I don't know if
a coin,
a bone or a coin. So whereby when your phone speaking, when someone sees you speaking your local language, it passes the bone to you. So the bone moves around the students. So when you're done, when the day ends, you all have to report to the teachers, whereby everyone has to report that which person did you give the bone to until the last person. So when the day ends, you are all beaten or punished because of speaking your local language.
Oh, that's sad.
So I was part of those people that used to to get those bonds and those coins doing my studying doing my studies. So yeah, that's my part.
So it's like circling bone. So everybody who touches the bone at the end of the day reports to the teacher to get their marking.
Yeah.
Actually, knowing who spoke they call it vernacular, it would be very easy. Start from the first person. The teacher gave it to Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie, who did you give it to? This one. So the whole line comes up to the last person. That is the funny thing about it. And you would end up the order not talking because someone just wants to say something small in that vernacular. Then they will give you the bone. They will always make sure that you speak something so that they give you the bone. Anyway, it was funny. But about that, the problem is it's true about our curriculum. Like we are not having a curriculum that bases on or that like tackles our challenges as a country, as if it is borrowed somewhere. So English is an instructional language. Don't know English, then you will not be able to interpret what the questions are saying or what the questions mean. So that's why they always try to limit on speaking those languages at school. Yes, at school and in public maybe. So maybe until when we develop a curriculum that tackles issues of a country, so we shall know when someone is supposed to speak this language. You can imagine even there are subjects, language, can I call them language subjects? Like we have Luganda as a subject, but you find that subject is also set in English. So it is really challenging, but it's not that the teachers actually want to punish, but they try to push or to follow some instructions, because at the end of every stage, like O level, the exams you sit, and there are teachers, unknown teachers that sit and set those exams. So, not your teachers. The one who sets doesn't know what you've been going through, what you've been studying. So that's why they try to generalize so that at the end, at least you can be somewhere. You can be able to handle even questions that are asked by someone who didn't teach you. Okay? So those are challenges that maybe will take time to be handled.
But those
Yeah,
are important to bring up. It's like we talked last time, right? It's not necessarily what you see is not what it is sometimes, and you might think that the teacher is just out there to get you, but the teacher actually means well for you, because you have to go and take this big exam at the end of year 6 or year 10, or at the end of O level, A level. You have to take the exam to move forward, right? In your professional career, in your social life, in your development. So if you speak too much Luganda and you don't speak enough English, you will fail. So it's actually not good for you, right? And sometimes teachers just don't know, and we all know, right, how kids can be rowdy sometimes, and they just don't have necessarily the time or the skills to use something else. The fastest way to attract your attention is to just like, boom, smack you, and you all of a sudden you're paying attention. You might not understand at the time that this is for your good, because this is how the system is structured, that you have to be using English to be able to succeed in this system. And these are some of the bigger issues. Again, thinking about Uganda, and also my experience mostly in East Africa and Kenya, right? It's the same thing. So if you want to study Swahili, you study Swahili as a subject, as a language in school, and most likely you will be studying it in English. So it's also thinking in the spectrum of big countries like Uganda, like Kenya, like South Africa, maybe, where there's so many languages. There are 40 plus sometimes languages, 50 plus languages within one country, which are all kind of your native, your home languages. So there needs to be something for the curriculum to work, right? Or the curriculum should be more flexible. These are really big issues to tackle, right? And it's not necessarily something we can resolve in 1 hour on live, but I think it's bringing them up from a perspective of why they might be, like why the teacher might be doing what they're doing. They're forcing you to do English because it's for your own good. Why English is the subject? Because it seemed logical to bring together everybody in one language for one curriculum so that you can again succeed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So any final funny stories that are not associated with beating? So we cheer ourselves for the weekend. Any funny?
We don't have those stories, but no stories to say right now.
I had one friend, I'll tell you a funny story without disclosing the friend. She didn't like swimming in the pool for the physical training, so their school had pool and they had to swim in the pool. So she dropped some colors into the pool and painted it red. So nobody could swim in the pool for a few days. You know, the pool is big, right? You have to drain all of the water, clean the pool, and then refill it. So it took at least for a week for the pool to be functional again. She was very proud of herself. No funny stories like that. Well, we had long conversation. We can wrap up for today and then leave something to discuss next week. And Suubi, if you're welcome to join us next week at the same time, if you have time and you want to still continue with this discussion, we would love to have you again.
It's a pleasure. I think I'll find time. I'll be communicating.
Okay.
Great. Thanks a lot, guys. And as always, we'll post this video for 24 hours on Instagram, and then we'll post it, all of them on YouTube.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.